Hey, what's going on? Listen, I decided that my name is Chuleta. My name is Mara Yo Primero, but people call me Chuleta, and that's fine. Okay, that's my nickname, and I don't have a problem with it. All right, I'm here today because what I decided that I wanted to do was that I wanted to teach you guys a little bit about some terms, like cause right. Okay, look. I've been doing my studying, I've been going to school and stuff, and I've really got into art and stuff, and what I'm thinking is like that I really I want to try to bridge the gap between the art world and then the world like us, like people like me and you, and you know what I'm saying. So but I know sometimes I think could be like a little confusing because people don't really be thinking about us like we be going to museums and stuff like that. And that's all right though, because people they be underestimating and whatnot. But that's all right though. So look, so what I decided that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to teach y'all a little bit. I'm gonna try to teach y'all a little bit about the art world, and maybe we could start to open up a dialogue between the white box community. And yeah, I know it sounds weird, but I'll explain that. Well, let's start there. What I wanted to do, I want to define some terms. I think I already said that, but I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Okay. So the first term that that I want to define is the white box. White box is the term that you use when you're talking about a gallery space or art gallery where you be looking at pictures, and usually like that's in the city, but you can have white box spaces all over. Like there's white boxes in the Bronx. Sometimes a white box isn't really a white box, but I know it sounds stupid, but whatever. Think about it. It's the four walls, and it's white, so it's like a white box. And you'll be putting pictures in a white box. So that's why it's a white box. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. I feel that's a good place to start. All right. Oh, well, I think I lost my place, but that's all right. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. All right. So we talk about hanging the artwork in a white box space. Now, sometimes that has there's problems with that and how people feel about the white box because it sounds kind of funny. And then, okay, now, all right, you know what? That's a real complicated one, and it's something that I'm still working on trying to figure out myself. So we'll deal with that one at a later time. All right. Um, Let me think. If we had to talk about something, let's see. One of the big topics that's really important right now, is a topic called postmodernism. Or even better still, if you want to know what something's called, there's something that's really important in the art world. People talk about it all the time, especially when it comes to people like me and you, that we people of color, right? And we black and Puerto Rican and stuff. um, it's something called identity politics. Okay, and identity politics is the way the art world is a topic that in the art world that like that you talk about how that people be making artwork about who they are, like who am I, you know what I mean, like what am I, and then you be making pictures of yourself, like if you make a picture of yourself and you eating, pegao or like arroz con gandules, so that when you're looking at the picture you could see or this picture's talking about who you are. And so, but at some point the white box decided, or they said, I'm like, we could, and that's a whole other conversation that we could have at some point, talking about how identity politics is over, because I guess it was happening a lot in the 90s, and a lot of people were making artwork about who they are, or who they be, right? Who, like, basically like who your peeps. And you want to show yourself off and make sure you put it out there. You talk about it like you gay, you black, you Puerto Rican, whatever. Okay, so at some point, people start making identity politics. So now it's like, now because they say you got identity politics, so here's another term you think about, like post, like the New York Post, but you don't post like a post on a MySpace, like a bulletin. Post, it means after, right? Not before, like pre or post, right? So something came up called post identity politics. So like people, like, if you, that's after identity politics. So it's like, um all right, how do you say it? It's like you making you it's like after the season pass of the identity politics, people making more identity politics artwork, but it's a little different because people already seen the other stuff. It's like it's kind of like retro clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like like the way the 80s style is now, like the clothes, the 80s style, you know, like you know, you okay, so let's say breaking style, break dancing, hip hop, the early stuff with mad old school stuff. Okay, so that would be like hip hop or like break dancing or like the 80s. So you can have like post 80s because it's coming back, but it's like they flip it like another way. You see what I'm saying? So like that's what I'm talking about. So then, so like identity politics is like post like you took identity art but you flipped it again. It's the same thing but different, but it's the same because it's like you take it from one thing, like a recipe, like something, like a leftovers, and then you take it and you cook it, you make it different, and then you start it again. See? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but that's called post-identity politics. So that's something, you know, you're talking about. You're still talking about your identity, but it's after the fact. Like modernism is like, you know, like the artwork that happened, like the 60s style, and you know, the art got really funky, and, you know, like using squares and shit, or like people making, you know, like a square box but there's really no walls, or you talk about a white box but it's not really white but it kind of is. So like so it's like I can't explain. I can't. You know what? Google Donald Judd, and then you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Or solid wit. Okay. Then you can start talking about that stuff, and that's like mad. It's like mad advanced, like futuristic style, but like back in the 60s. So like if you're gonna go back and do more stuff like that, you're gonna do postmodern because you did it already, but somebody did it before you, but you're gonna do it again. But you're gonna flip it. You see, that's even gonna be more bugged out than before. All right, so that's probably the best way that I could explain it. So now, you know, I know that it's not complicated, but I'll be here, okay? You can ask Chuleta, and you're gonna be all right. We're gonna figure this whole thing out. So that way you could go and you could take your son, you could take your man's seed to the museum, and you could be showing them stuff. And then if there's a problem, then people could look. They won't be saying shit to you about you being in the museum because you know your shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to bridge gaps and build communities. We're talking about how we gonna, you know, we gotta get our peeps going to the museums and shit. That's like a big deal to me. That's mad important. Okay, so cause I hate when people be looking at us like we're not supposed to be doing shit. I used to be kind of gangster like that and didn't like to go, but then you know someone taught me and I started doing my reading too, and it's just mad simple. It's not that hard, you know. But I can't be having, you know, and then I seen some kids going to the museum and they started wilding out, and I think, you know, it's time for us to mature, you know, and to be looking at, you know, because you got to be more classy, right? Because, you know, well, you know what, Beyonce and Jay-Z was at this big art fair called Art Basel, and that's in Miami, kid. I was up in Miami Beach, son. So, yeah, dude, and it was mad art. It was mad art. All kinds of stuff, the post identity politics, the postmodernism, there's even something called the post black. Yo, it's ill. All right, this is Chuleta.